I don't wanna kill myself, I wanna kill the part of me that wants to kill myself. Welcome viewers, in today's episode. r/AskReddit. Psychiatrists, Psychologists of Reddit, what is the most profound or insightful thing you have ever heard from a patient with a mental illness? I'm a recovery specialist, and one time my client said, I guess I missed the transition from when the ground was lava and imaginary friends became schizophrenia. That broke my heart. Imagine if every small decision felt like it had life or death consequences. Describing living with an anxiety disorder. It's like a life or death game of chess. You have to think 10 moves ahead and have a move for every situation in advance. The fear of death gets worse with every possible move you analyze. And if life makes a move that you didn't see coming, instant breakdown, no matter how small insignificant the move was. I want to kill myself, but I don't want to die. Believe it or not, those are two different things. I don't wanna kill myself, I wanna kill the part of me that wants to kill myself. I was interviewing a bipolar patient. I asked him how he would describe himself, an altruistic lover of truth and beauty. I then asked him how others would describe him, bit of a cunt probably. The medication made the voices go away. I'm lonely now. My daughter was experiencing two main hallucinations. The dark man and Leo. The dark man told her to do bad things to herself and other people. He threatened her all the time. Even attacked Leo when she didn't do what he wanted her to do. Leo was a teenage boy around her own age. He was very attractive and caring. He loved her and told her all the good things to make her feel better. She demanded I get her a larger bed so that Leo would have a place to lay down with her. I got her the bed. When offered medication to remove the hallucinations, she refused. She didn't want to let go of Leo. We tried to explain that allowing Leo also allowed the dark man. She still refused. She's much better now, around 3 years later. She been in therapy and does not take medications. She met a boy who, she says, looks remarkably like Leo. They both work with each other to help each other heal, though she does realize that she should not be relying on him. She no longer sees either hallucination. But your quote made me think of that. I'm a cannibal investigator. How crazy is it that I have that job? You'd think someone could just go up to these people and say, hey you. Quit eating people. A schizophrenic woman with delusions that she was working for the FBI investigating child molesters and cannibals. Also believed her twin sister was trying to steal her identity. After about a week of treatment, she still had the same delusions, but was no longer really concerned with them. Completely aware of the absurdity of her supposed profession. Still thought her sister was trying to steal her organs, but she was fine with going to live with her, because she was otherwise really a nice person. One of my recent ones, he said it nonchalantly, not trying to brag, just having a conversation, mostly to himself, yeah, I'm the supreme ruler of the universe. Figured I'd come down here for a bit and hang out. Not really sure that was the right choice, but I'm going to stick it out. I don't know which I'm more afraid of, that one day I'll wake up with the will to kill myself, or that I never do. My biggest fear isn't dying, it's failing a suicide attempt. What if I don't die and end up a vegetable or quadriplegic? From a patient who suffers from schizophrenia, why should I take this medication? When I am under this, I feel so empty. He was full of delusions, thinking he was the reincarnation of God and regularly living the nirvana. It doesn't take talent to practice. Therapist here, I was working with a defiant teenager and sports was his only outlet. He had big dreams of being in a professional league but knew he was horrible at it. I thought his statement was really inspiring. I think about it often when trying new things. From a patient with bipolar at a nursing home I worked at, when talking about how arbitrary the diagnostic guidelines can be, I don't take my meds to fix me, because there's nothing wrong with me. I take them because everyone else is crazy and I need to fit in. A patient recovering from body image issues told me, we spend our whole lives trying to get to a certain place or acquire certain things so that we may be happy. But true happiness is when you realize you are never going to get to that place, or that even when you do you will still be dreaming of a new place or new things. So happiness has to start now, with what we have. Basically sums up the whole message of therapy for me, to be honest. I worked with a child, 11 years old, who had been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, and I was having a conversation about how it affects interpersonal communication. I was fumbling through explaining non-verbal cues, misunderstandings, etc. when he said to me, "It's like trying to explain color to someone who's colorblind." The most meaningful thing I've heard was a guy telling his hallucinations that he thinks he can trust me. Patient with schizophrenia that described it as spending all day in a locked room with a stereo on full blast and not being able to turn the volume down. I work with kids. I had a kiddo in my office, probably 7 to 9 years old, somewhere in there, and everything he played with crashed, exploded or was destroyed in some way. I asked him about it after he drew a picture then scribbled it out. He had a difficult past, not living with his parents, witnessed drug use, etc. Well, if you get mad at the grown-ups who make you mad, you get in trouble. But if you make an explosion or a car crash, they think you're just playing. Yep. 100%. Even grown-ups do this. Had a client with general anxiety disorder. She explained the feeling as if she tripped, and the moment where you don't know if you are going to catch yourself or not is how she felt all day long. Also, if any of you all feel this way, go speak to a counselor. Living like this is extremely hard and you deserve a better life, even if you don't believe that yourself. One of my clients had paranoid schizophrenia and he was recovering from yet another in a long string of hospitalizations due to a significant psychotic episode. We were sitting together quietly, and there was a lull in the conversation. He suddenly looked up and said, "Hey, you know Lord of the Rings? Did you ever think that those books might actually be prophecy?" I said, "No, I don't think they are. They are really interesting and enjoyable, but they are just made-up stories. Professor Tolkien even said so himself." He seemed to mull over this for a few moments and said, "Yeah, you're probably right. Sometimes I wonder about things like that, but I have paranoid schizophrenia." Oftentimes we talk about an individual's reality testing, which describes an individual's ability to reconcile their inner beliefs with their outer experience. People with poor reality testing, due to psychosis, for example, will often have distorted beliefs about the rest of the world. It was great to see a moment of real clarity and self-awareness through this guy's frequent fog of struggle. He's a pretty talented musician too, and that seemed to give him a great deal of relief. Feeling pain is better than feeling nothing. This came from a teenager in juvenile hall upon returning from a psychiatric hold for self-injurious behaviors. I was part of his treatment team in the hall and had to make the 5150 call. He explained during our next session that this was the reason for banging his head against a steel door. He couldn't feel anything. No sadness, no joy. Nothing. He needed to feel. He chose pain. I feel like a ghost, walking around unseen in the backdrops of these other happy lives. 56-year-old alcoholic. Edit, obligatory, holy shit, this blew up, edit. I've worked in addictions treatment for many years, and this man was one of my first clients. Without breaking confidentiality, he lived a long, successful life, a high-functioning alcoholic. He had a wife and kids and was still so dissatisfied, just buried in self-pity and little regrets which had piled up over the years. I was able to help him get clean, and he actually emailed me not long ago. Still doing well. Still sober. If you or anyone you love is struggling with addiction, there is help out there. Check yourself into treatment. There's no shame in asking for help. Child with autism who is struggling with her difficulty making and keeping friends, it's okay if I don't have any friends. Having friends makes you happy, but it doesn't make you a good person. You know who was really popular? Hitler. This girl was so lonely and it was causing her so much pain, but she still managed to see the difference between being popular and being good. We made a project of finding examples of unpopular people who did really good and important things. She still has a tough life ahead of her, but I think her attitude will help her be strong. Been in the field for a few years now. People diagnosed with mental illness are some of the most brilliant and misunderstood individuals in our society. I have seen profound moments of insight from people who self-harm, describing the way they feel like a sponge and absorb the world's pain, to straight-up geniuses who just couldn't find socially acceptable ways to contribute to the world. Many of them are bursting at the seams with incredibly complex worldviews, creative expression, and truly original perspectives, but often lack the ability or support to thrive. It's a real shame we don't have more respect for our mentally ill fellow humans. I am convinced they hold keys that could radically impact our societies for the better. Formal mental patient here and current social worker who works with individuals with severe and persistent mental illness. Right before a hospitalization, one of my friends asked what it was like to mentally ill. For me, it wasn't having control of my own mind. Knowing what I was thinking and doing to myself made no sense, but not being able to stop. It's the most terrifying thing I've ever experienced. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe for more.